Hello, it's late October 2021. I have procured myself an inverter welder. Now, this isn't my first rodeo with welders. I mean, I've had that bad boy for 15 years. It's a really great welder. It's fantastic on heavy duty stuff, but it's not precise. It's quite spitty. But if you show it 10mm steel, it will glue it together beautifully with some nice Argo shield. And we've got another bottle there, which we're going to break out with this one shortly. So I've been considering getting a new welder for, I should think, a couple of years now. And the problem is, whenever you look at welders on Amazon, on eBay, on lots of outlets, they're all much of a muchness, and it's really difficult to sort the wheat from the chaff. So after lots of perusing and looking at things, there was one parameter which I defined in terms of looking at what to buy, because it's really difficult to make a choice. And talking to people like Rich Brunning, he agrees. It's a minefield, because you've got all of this stuff out there which is made in China. It's all on these various sites. It's all quite difficult to assess. So looking at the things, the proviso I put was I wanted about 200 amps. This is a 200 amp welder. And I wanted to see the inside of the welder, where the spool is. Why did I want to see that? Well, if you look in the pictures of all the welders which are on Amazon and eBay, I wanted to see the inside, because then you can actually see whether you've got a metal wire feed in there, whether it's plastic or whether it's metal. Generally, if the side's closed, I'm going to go with it's a cheap plastic wire feed. However, the side was open on the pictures. You could clearly see it was a metal wire feed, and I've got a lot of time for that, because I think it's probably going to be stronger, it's going to last longer, it's going to be more precise. There's a bit of money gone into that. This was about the 300 quid mark. It was really tough deciding on what it was, because apart from anything, the Amazon ratings that you're looking at are not necessarily all for the same item. Because if you look carefully, you'll see different model numbers, you'll see entirely different products in the listings. And this makes it even tougher to choose, even if you think, they've got recommendations, so let's use those. So there's always a risk you're just going to wind up with a turkey that's going to be no good, because you've no idea what's actually in the box. Anyway, I'm going to put this on a tripod. We're going to break out the Stanley knife, open up the box, see what we've got. It is 15 kilos, so it's not a little lightweight thing. It should be half decent, and it's got some beautiful graphics on the side here that a friend of mine's like, oh, can I have this when you're done? Well, as long as it doesn't go back to Amazon, yes. Yes, Shed Over Heels, you can have the box with the beautiful graphics on it. So we're going to open up the box. We're going to see whether it's a Hitbox or whether it's one of those, and see how we get on. So let's get this up on a tripod, and we'll see where we are. Right, Hitbox welder, 200 amp MIG welder. I think it also does other functions. I'm not interested in those. If I wanted an MMA or arc welder, I'd buy an MMA or arc welder. If I wanted a TIG welder, I'd go and buy a TIG welder. I don't TIG weld, so there's no point in that. I don't like arc welding much, because, well, it's messy. Right, we're going to have this over. There's a box inside. The box is the first thing. Here we go. The box was sitting on top of the box. Okay, so we've got some accessories in a box. That is quite a stout little thing. So we like the weight of it. It's got some weight to it. I'm seeing a 2-pin plug in there, which ain't much use for the UK, but we'll have a look, see in a minute how easy that is to swap out, because I also see, oh my lord, look at this. This is not a good sign. So we're going to go 2-pin plug to 3-pin plug, 13 amp. It's a nice heavy duty cable by all accounts, but okay, that's a thing about, being in the UK and having sensible plugs. We aren't like everyone else, so we wind up with 2-pin plugs. To be fair, if this proves it's okay, if it's a good little welder, that won't matter, because we'll get the cable cutters out and we will be swapping that out for a 16 amp or a 32 amp plug, because that way we get a cleaner feed, we get much nicer power to the welder. Right, this is the moment. Does it have in here what I want it to have? Is it as described, as pictured? Yes, look at that. We have quite a nice wire feed unit there. That actually appears to be, you know, it's got some money spent on it. We've got tension numbers on here, because I did look at buying an SIP on this occasion, because I've had an SIP 15 years. It's been a cracking thing. In fairness, I say it's been a cracking thing. It has had various switches removed, replaced, rewired as well, because it's designed to be it's got components in there which are three-phase. It's a single-phase unit. However, if you bridge the switches together, you get a much better switch in there, which is what we wound up doing at one point. So we have, I think that looks quite promising. We've got a two wire size feeder in there as well. Some of these units have switches for spool guns. I'm not going to mess about with spool guns. We're just going to bang some MIG wire in there, and we're going to use it as a MIG with proper Argo Shield light up stuff on it and go from there. Now this is where the nonsense comes in. We've got this that comes out here. We're going to be doing MIG welding, so probably that's going to go in there and it's never going to come out. That's it. Why bother? It's stupidity. There we go. Anyway, we have two digital displays on here. We've got some sealed pressy buttons for wire check, whatever that is, to switch between solid core and flux core. That's quite promising. And switch between the three modes, arc, MIG and lift TIG. So that's the controls we've got on there. We've got a fair quality brass fitting there for our wire feed and everything else. So that's quite nice. I'm happy with that. Yeah, right. So let's just see what the fit's like on this, because this is not staying. This is litter, but just to does it even go in? I mean, this is the thing. We like 3-pin plugs. They're really good. So that fits together not too bad, but it's just a idiocy. Let's see what bug and bucking kit goodies we've got in the box here. Okay. Should I be doing this more drama? I mean, this is unboxing, right? This is a thing. I'm not really interested. It's going to be far more interesting when we actually power it up and see what it does. Okay. We have a Hitbox branded torch, which is a cheap ass Euro torch, but you know, it's a new torch. Who doesn't like a new torch, right? There's a couple of tips in there, unspanniored as well to undo the tips. We got a lovely bit of tube there for the gas. This is heavy. This suggests this is wire in here, which is cheap ass wire. Do you tell me what you are? Self-shielded flux cored wire. Yeah, let's just put that back in there. And I don't know, there's probably a skip over there. That you go. We have some destructions with a pair of high quality dual lead clips. Then we have an earth cable, which is reasonably heavy duty. Cable tie. Again, these have nice industry standard type connectors on, so we're happy with that. That's all good. And here we have an arc welding clampy clamp. We'll put that over there. I might use the copper for something, but arc welding, I don't think so. So that is everything out. I need to read the instructions. I need to find a half decent lead and pull that torch out the bag, hook it up, get some wire in there, and then we'll see what's what. So we'll come back in a couple of minutes. Okay, so we're set up. We have a metal table, which makes life easy. So we are earthed on the metal table. We have the plug thing into the positive, and then the I really don't get that plug thing. I'm sure it'd be useful for one of the many modes, but I just don't see the necessity for all those modes. I just want a MIG welder. We are set up with the torch. We have big fat 5 kilo reel of wire in there. It's Sealy branded. It's probably not of the best European quality, because on the reel that we have, the paper around the outside says it is qualified. Not quality, but there. One of the things we do like when we're feeding the wire through is we have a wire check here, which actually allows you to feed the wire through. That's a nicety I've not got on previous welders, so I'm happy with that. I've had a little bit of a razz to see what it does just on flat steel, and now what we've set up here is 1.2mm steel, which should be about 80 amps. This is 2mm steel, which should be probably about 110 amps. And we have 6mm steel, which this isn't actually rated for according to the instructions that arrived in the box. So we'll wind it up fully to 200 on that and see how it deals with that. Hopefully after we've done these, I'll have time enough just to cut them in half and we'll have a look at the actual weld quality. I'm going to stick this back on its tripod and we will give it a razz and see how we go. Okay, so 3 different pieces. We're going from cold. So when you turn it on, switch on back, we just cycle up. Tells me it's pro when it starts up. We've selected MIG here, just on the press of the button. We've got solid core because we haven't got flux core wire. What it does is it brings up 80 amps, that seems to be where it starts, and we have volts. The thing that we don't have, which kind of annoys me, is wire speed. I'm used to having a wire speed control. I'm guessing the volts is the wire speed. We'll have a look when we have a go. But you toggle between amps and volts with a press on the dial, which does seem to go round and round and round. There's a volume control on it, sort of thing, display. Doesn't seem to mean what you might expect it to. So let's have a go at the 80 amp setting on 1.2 using the voltage, which is reset to 17.5 for that setting. So when you start it up, whether you've adjusted the voltage, it comes back in at 17.5, which I'm guessing is the standard suggested. So let's just roll this on the 1.2 and we'll see how we get on. Tell you what would help if I turn the gas on. However, even without gas on, that's a really nice sharp crackle, really good wire control. No slipping, messing about like that. So should we ever go with some actual gas? So that's gone okay. It's not tidy because I've gone over the stuff I did without the gas. It was just starting to blow through at the end there, so possibly I could wind the amps down a bit, but in fairness, the voltage it seems to have set itself up at seems okay. So the next recommendation is to go to 110 to 120, and it increases the voltage automatically there, and we'll give it a quick fire on the 2mm. Here we go. I'll be honest, I'm pretty happy with that. That's tidier. It's not just my welding, it's just the fact that it's nice and settled and stable at that sort of rate. So it looks okay. So now what we're going to do is wind it all the way up to 200, and I'll be honest. I'm going to pile into the 6mm that we've got here. So we've got a bit of a stand-up bead there. Could we improve that by upping the voltage? It always toggles back to the amps. Let's see if we can spin this piece around and see how it runs. Hold that down. Let's see if we have an improvement or less. If you don't like standing up in beads, they're saying to me, not good enough penetration. We've just got weld on the surface. The 2mm I really like though. Right to me. Okay, it's a bit later. I've replaced the fuse, which had blown, and what I've done is just diced up these test pieces to see what they look like. So this is the 2mm, which was the middle of them, and I'm plenty happy with that. It's gone through quite well, and we have, you can see good penetration through to the back there, and again there. That's a reasonably good, solid, if a bit spotty weld. This was the 1.2, which I think that's the back end of it there, and it's a bit slumped, probably a bit too much heat there, but it has gone all the way through. You know, fair penetration on that. Again, you can see it coming through, burning through to the other side. And the last one, which was this 6mm. Now, slump, too much juice. I'm not overly happy about that, but then again, that was at the very edge of what this thing could do, as illustrated by the fuse blowing. Anyway, I'm thinking it's going to need a bit of playing about with just to get it where we want it to, and I think although it doesn't have a display that says wire speed, a bit more playing about, probably the amps or voltage is actually going to be wire speed on MIG. I suspect that we've got amps and voltage which are for MMA. So a little bit more of a play, but at the moment I think it is more hitbox than box. So all in all, it's going to take some more testing, but I think I'm happy with that for 300 quid. We'll see how robust it is over the coming weeks and months and years, but it seems to be a good little welder, and I shall torture it some more on some car bodywork before too long. So, many thanks for watching, and if you want to see more of this nonsense, let me know. I do have a, what is it? Plasma argon 60 amp plasma cutter that I've got recently. I'm not overly one with at the moment. That's another Amazon purchase. But at the moment, this seems reasonably good, and the next modification we're going to be making to it is a 16 amp plug. I should just say before we close, that also, a couple more mods. We've used petrol pipe clips on the pipe. They clamp more evenly. I'm happier with them, and that's all good. It's running on Argon Mix, which is a rent-free bottle, which I would strongly recommend you do if you're going to do some serious actual welding that you want to be happy with, because the danger if you are welding either with flux core, which will be cheap rubbish generally unless you're paying proper money, in which case you might as well go Argo Shield, or just don't go CO2 on me. It's a bad idea. It's going to make your welds look rubbish, and you can make them a whole load better by getting a deposit-free bottle of Argon Mix and using that to shield your welds for MIG. Yeah, I'm happy with it. Yay far. Cheers.